Hello, sports fans. This is Quinito, Henson.
And I am Dyan, Castillejo. Get ready to uncover the future of Philippine sports.
Let's navigate and break down the game.
And kick it back with our inspiring athletes.
For today's episode, we get updates on the Gilas Pilipinas training camp for the upcoming FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers and Olympic qualifying tournament. Then, we find out the latest on the return of Asia's first pro league, the PBA.
We also catch up with former Ateneo Blue Eagle star, now playing with the San-en Neophoenix team in the Japan B-League, Thirdy Ravena.
And let's once again root for our athletes and be part of the action.
This is your one-stop shop for the latest on the greatest in sports. We are here to
play it right. Dyan, it's good to see you virtually. I see through your posts you've been doing a lot of workouts. Can you tell us, how do you stay healthy and beautiful?
Well, you know me, I love to exercise and I try to do different things. When it was a hard lockdown, I was just like skipping rope in my house, doing weights. I had to buy a whole lot of weights. Got a treadmill at home. But then, of course, when our village opened up, I ran outside, swim, and do a lot of stretching. And sometimes I do like YouTube workouts, or I make my own workouts. Kung ano lang feel ko. What about you? I know that you also like to stay active, go to the beach. Well, how have you been staying healthy and entertained at home?
Dyan, I'm trying to stay busy at home. I do my writing at home. I watch sports on different social media platforms. I do a lot of phone interviews, Zoom interviews. I'm invited to do webinars. So yeah, I'm trying to stay busy. I walk around the village. When we go to the beach, I try to get in some sun. And otherwise, I'm just trying to stay healthy, keeping myself busy and enjoying my family.
Nice.
I'm so excited to finally launch our first episode of Play It Right, especially because of our exciting set of guests.
That's right. And what better way to kick us off than getting the latest on Philippine basketball? And for this episode, we sit down and chat with our basketball leaders. Sports fans, enjoy. So the Gilas team is back together preparing for two very important tournaments, the FIBA Cup and of course the OQT, the Olympic qualifying tournament. And here to keep us up to speed about the Gilas team is SBP President Al Panlilio. Thanks for being on the show again, Al.
Hi, good evening, Dyan. Thank you for having me. Quinito, hi, good evening.
Good evening.
All right. So tell us, how's the training going sa Calumbubble?
Well, it's ongoing, as you know. I mean, we took a short break when ECQ was announced, but they've been back ever since. So, yeah, I mean, we're trying the best as we can to practice and really compete. Hopefully, when we get to the FIBA Asia qualifiers that we're hosting in Clark in June, if we can show a good showing, I think, and we're fighting. I think that'll be great for Philippine basketballs.
Here's an interesting issue, Mr. Panlilio, that a lot of fans are keeping in mind. It's the idea of our Phil foreigners somehow getting accreditation from FIBA to play as locals and not as naturalized players. Will we ever see a time in FIBA history where Stanley Pringle, Christensen Hardiger, and Jordan Clarkson will be allowed to play as locals for the Philippines?
It's a very difficult issue, no? As you know, Quinito, there are a lot of legalities, I guess, behind it, and I think we do need to continue to dialogue with FIBA. But of course, we don't stop in terms of trying to appeal our case. they are looking at laws that apply to all the countries that are part of the FIBA family.
That's great. Have you had any recent conversation or communication with Jordan Clarkson? I'm curious lang.
No real communication. I've seen some of his social media statements or posts. I'm happy to hear that he would want to represent the Philippines again.
The window of qualifying in 3-on-3 seems to be an interesting one. And beyond the Tokyo Olympics, looking forward to even the Paris Olympics, how realistic is this dream of somehow being able to qualify for 3-on-3 of the Olympics sometime in the future?
I think Quinito, it's realistic. The draftees who cannot qualify for the draft in the PBA are now part of the 3x3 program, and hopefully we can create a pool and grow that separately from the 5-on-5. That's the objective, and have two paths to the Olympics. Hopefully, baka nga maunahan pa ng 3x3 yung 5-on-5 in the Olympics. Yeah?
I actually get a lot of emails from parents or like Pinoys lang na, yung anak ko, pamangkin ko, ganito, sa Italy, ganyan, pwede ba ipakita yung video, ganyan. So, a lot of Filipinos dream of playing for Gilas, and I really like the new 3x3 path, which is going to really open the door for more basketball players. As you know, it's the number one love sport dito sa Pilipinas. So,
I have a favor to ask you, Quinito and Dyan, because you do have your contacts, your network of contacts globally.
Sure.
Please find them before they hit 15 years old so that we can process the passport for now. So if you can give us all these names, all these tips, it will be helpful to the federation.
Yeah, for sure. And it's you're having this program is really what makes it all the more hopeful for these basketball aspirants. Well, I'm sure Quinito agrees. I firmly believe we have so much sports talent in the country.
Mr. Panlilio, about the 2023 FIBA World Cup, what are the preparations leading towards that? And my last question will be, how do the fans get to watch the FIBA Asia Cup third qualifying window games, as well as the Olympic qualifying tournament games in Serbia?
Well, the first question is preparation for the World Cup 2023 actually started when the time that we won in Geneva. We've announced our logo. We've announced we started our 1,000-day countdown. We will continue to have events as we go on. So there's a lot of work happening, and really a lot of sessions happening virtually at this point. It will be a bubble in Clark. So it will be through TV5 and of course coverage of TV5 and Signal that you can watch the games. Of course through smart live stream too. No? For sure, our sixth man always, the Filipino fans who's been very supportive of the team. Hopefully by 2023, everybody or mostly everyone has been vaccinated. People can come in and fly into the country. So we're hoping that by 2023 we'll be able to bring a crowd. So, at the end of the day, we want to do a good job, but have a different experience from the perspective of not only the local fans but global fans of basketball.
So no fans will be able to go to the FIBA in this coming June. That's for sure already.
It will be a bubble. Yeah. It will be a bubble.
Thank you very much again, Al, for your time.
Thank you, Al.
You heard it right from the mouth of the SBP president, the governor of Meralco with the PBA Board of Governors, the incoming president and CEO of PLDT, the president of Smart Communications. Congratulations for all the things that you're doing, not just for basketball, but for the country. And it's an honor and privilege that we're all together here playing it right in our first episode of this show. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. More power to you. Hats off to the SBP for all that they're doing to develop our team, keep them at a high level, at par with players in the international level, while keeping all our players safe, of course.
And yes, it's also so exciting to see Ange Kwame bannering our flag for the first time. Congratulations, Ange, on your naturalization. Well, sports fans, we're back here on Play It Right, and this time we've got the man to talk about the Gilas program, none other than the Gilas Project Director, Tab Baldwin and Dyan. I'm very excited to find out a lot of new things about what's going on in the Calumbubble and with the program.
You know, it's a work in progress. I think probably all of us have been a part of projects that when you take it from the beginning, sometimes it looks like it can never get to the finish line. But as we get much closer to the finish line, we're beginning to see, you know, the evolution of the team, the evolution of the players. We're beginning to see some things come to fruition. But, you know, with our ultimate goal being 2023 and beyond, we're still very much in the early stages. But right now we're right in the middle of game preparation for the upcoming game with Korea on the 14th. You know, it's going to get here much sooner than we will be prepared for, but we will have to do the best that we can to get as prepared as we possibly can.
Can you give us an idea of what it's like a day in the life of your team in the bubble? Like, what's your schedule like?
We work on a schedule of about 11 to 12 practices a week. So some days are 2 practices, some days are 1 practice. So those days where they have 2 practices, they're up at around 7. They get their breakfast, and we want them to get that, you know, into their stomachs before usually what is a 9 o'clock practice. Then they have the afternoon off, and then we usually come into a video session, and then we go on the court for another couple of hours, and then they're free for the night. The coaches, we meet after each practice. We watch the practice that we just had. We watch all the live parts of the practice, and then we do that again at night, and that's when we plan the next day's practice sessions after we watch the videos.
Well, no pros in your lineup, Coach Tab. All young guys. How are they responding to the challenge? You were talking about their routine. That's a really hectic schedule.
Well, you're right, Quinito. This is a new adventure for these players. I can promise you that. And while they have the energy for it, the mental application is something that we're constantly trying to massage them to be more diligent in understanding the game, understanding what we want from each practice. And then, you know, it is a big physical demand as well, but we think that they can manage that. It's the mental part that we see lapses in practice when they look tired, they look unfocused. And of course, we have to somehow crack the whip and get them refocused.
These guys are very young, and in the FIBA Asia Cup third qualifying window, we're going up against very experienced veterans. What are the expectations given the pressure confronting these young guys? And we certainly don't want to expect too much from these guys. But what about you on a personal basis, Coach Tab?
Well, my expectations are extremely high. And I don't mind if other people have high expectations or not. It's pretty irrelevant to me. The reason that my expectations are high is because I understand what these players are capable of doing in any given moment. The ability to sustain that is the challenge. And, you know, the quality of the opposition is what puts a lot of pressure on the ability to sustain that one possession after another, plus their inexperience. But those are just excuses not to play well. The players understand, you know, what the coaching staff expects of them, and we know what they can do and what they're capable of. This is where experience would help them immensely, and they just don't have it. So we will get that. But while we're getting it, we don't want to fail.
Coach, what about Kai Soto? As we all know, he's, you know, on his way to the NBL, but he did commit to the Gilas. Do you have any I understand he is supposed to be joining Gilas before heading off to Australia. Do you have any info on the timetable for him joining the team?
We don't have firm timetables yet. You know, there's still a lot of discussions going on, but I'm not involved personally in those discussions. I'm kind of like you. I'm kind of waiting for a final decision. I don't really want to know too much about the discussions because they're just a distraction to me. And we'll try to make smart decisions around his preparation. And I mean, you know, he's like any player in the world except younger than most, and that is they can't walk in and be a synchronized basketball player in you know, overnight.
Yeah.
My last 2 questions, Tab, would be, number 1, is there a chance that the Gilas team will be able to play practice games with any PBA teams? And number 2, talking about the FIBA Asia Cup, and that'll be in August in Jakarta, will there be a chance to bring in additional players, maybe like a Thirdy Ravena, or maybe even a Jordan Clarkson?
The answer to the first one is we're very, very hopeful for that to happen in the short term and in the longer term. But again, we're talking about a lot of parties being involved in that decision, and we're talking about health and safety protocols. We're talking about, can they come in the bubble? Do we have to leave the bubble? If we leave the bubble, can we go back in the bubble? But believe me, the SBP and the PBA, their hearts are in the right place. They're working on it. And we desperately need it to happen, but it may not happen. But I would think as the situation eases, probably by July in preparation for August, a whole nother world of possibilities may open up. As to the players, definitely after the June games, we plan on reassembling in July at some point and trying to broaden both the player pool that will vie to compete in August, but also bringing in more players to continue the process of introducing them to our culture, introducing them to our system.
Well, Coach, we're all behind you. The whole country is behind you, cheering for you, putting pressure on you. But we appreciate your hard work, your dedication. And most of all, I really love your optimism and your no excuses type of thinking. So thanks, Coach. And hopefully we can get to see some of the games of the Gilas squad.
Yeah, I hope so too. And thank you all very much for the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you. And, I wish all your listeners, please stay safe, stay healthy, and, keep saying our prayers that this thing will end sooner rather than later. And I just wish the good Lord's blessings on everybody.
Thank you, Tab.
You know what's so nice about our basketball players is that they are always so willing to represent the country, no matter what team they belong to. I'm really looking forward to seeing this team succeed and show the world what Filipino basketball players are capable of doing.
I totally agree, Dyan. And these upcoming games are going to be tough, but with the preparation the team has made, we have no doubt that they can take on the challenge. It's just a matter of executing it when the time comes.
So sports fans, if you've enjoyed what we've been showing, please keep it here because we have so much more in store for you. Only here at Play It Right.
And now, guys, let's bring you closer to home. Let's talk about the PBA. And we've got none other than the PBA Commissioner Willie Marcial to join us in talking about what to expect from our long-lasting league. It's now entering its 46th season, and coming from a very successful bubble in Clark last year, a lot of expectations as far as the PBA's next season is concerned. A lot of outstanding rookies have been picked and are coming into the league. So, Commissioner, it's so nice to see you. Welcome to Play It Right.
Thank you for having me. Magandang araw sa inyo.
Commissioner, unang-una matanong ko lang, no?
Sige.
Kung mag-umpisa tayo ng ating season in the middle of June, malamang ang gagamitin natin na system will be closed circuit. Yung mga player galing sa bahay, papuntang gym, tapos balik sa bahay with very strict protocols at walang audience. Malaking bagay ba sa experience ng ating Clark Bubble na ang PBA naglalaro na walang audience? Anong impact sa players at ano naman ang impact in terms of media values?
Sa mga players, Quinito, ang laking impact nun. Makikita mo kasi iba talaga yung may crowd. So siguro dahan-dahan sila nakaka-adapt. Sa media, napapanood naman tayo sa TV eh. Pero yung gate receipt natin, ang laking bagay sa PBA na mawala yon. So malaking bagay sa PBA, pero yun nga, katulad na sinabi ko, makapagbigay lang tayo ng saya sa mga fans. Okay na PBA.
Commissioner, sa Clark, naranasan natin yung close to 2.5 months na na-closet kayo dun sa Clark at malaki yung ginastos ng PBA. Pero beyond the cost of staging the bubble, it was more of a challenge mentally and emotionally sa ating mga players. Sa tingin ninyo, will there be another bubble?
As I've said at pinresent ko sa IATF, Quinito, na nahihirapan na kami sa bubble. 1, sa gastos. 2, mental health. So, ang laki nung kinain sa atin na expenses for the bubble. So, kaya nga ni-request ko sa task force na kung pwedeng closed circuit bubble, yung home, at pinayagan naman tayo.
Yung malaking balita galing sa PBA, yung pag-uumpisa ng 3-on-3 na league. And it's creating a lot of excitement because there will be 16 teams. Sa tingin ninyo, this move of the PBA to have a 3-on-3 league, could this possibly lead to an expansion of the 5-on-5 league from 12 teams to maybe 16 teams?
Pwede yun. Pwede mangyari yung Quinito. Pero kaya natin binuo ang 3x3 ay para tulungan ng SBP. Pangalawa, makapagbigay ng dagdag trabaho sa mga players, sa coaches, sa lahat ng mga bumubuo ng 3x3. Mauna muna yung 5-on-5. Tapos after a month, 3x3. Para ma-promote din naman namin ng 3x3 habang naglalaro ang 5-on-5 sa PBA.
Ngayon naman, Commissioner, kung pwede natin pag-usapan yung tinatawag nilang draft dodger rule. Yung 2 years within a player's eligibility to join the draft, he must apply for the draft, or if not, magkakaroon ng ban. Is this rule something that is being rethought or revisited?
Kaya ginawa yung ruling na yan, Quinito, dun sa kailangan after 2 years after college mag-apply ka. Kasi yung mga ibang mga players na namimili kung anong team ang papasukan nila. O hindi mo na ako magpapadraft kasi ayaw kong team na to. Hindi mo na ako magpapadraft. Kaya ginawa yung ruling na yan. Yun naman yung sinasabi ko eh. Katulad si Kai Soto, kung pupunta yon, makapagbigay lang naman ng letter or i-consider ng board, magpaalam ka. Bakit ka pupunta? Magpaalam ka bago matapos yung 2 years. I-consider naman, pag-aaralan yon. Pag-aaralan ko, tingnan natin kung makukonsider natin. Nire-revisit yan ng mga Board of Governors. So tingnan natin kung anong kakalabasan.
Commissioner, yung last question is about yung mga trading patterns. Marami nagsasabi na yung mga rich teams are getting the best players. Yet, nung Clark Bubble, nakita ng tao na yung parity is getting there. Because pagkatapos ng eliminations, 2 teams tied for first place, 5 teams tied for third place, at yung 8th place team was just a game away from entering a tie for third place. No? Kaya parang yung parity nakikita na ng tao. So, just your comments about yung mga haka-haka ng mga fans na yung mga traits ng PBA seem to favor only a few teams.
Ganyan. Kanya-kanya na opinion naman yan, Quinito eh. So, opinion nila yan. Sa tingin namin, okay naman yung ginagawa namin, yung trade committee. Hindi ko naman pinapakilaman.
Well, Commissioner, maraming salamat sa time ninyo. No? Una-una, kami lahat, we're all big fans of the PBA. We're hoping that the PBA can restart because yan ang hinihintay ng mga kababayan natin. And with your leadership, with your guidance, and more than that, the compassion that you show to the players, everybody is confident that magiging even more successful ang PBA in the years to come. Maraming salamat, Commissioner Willie Marcial.
Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Mabuhay kayo at sana hindi ito yung huling guest ko dito sa programa niyo.
You know, Quinito, your sit down with Commissioner Willie really opened us to a bigger perspective on the PBA and its future plans. And at least while we're waiting for 5-on-5, we can also look forward to 3x3 action.
Well, you know what, Dyan? The PBA will just continue to flourish and expand, especially with a strong basketball fan culture in the Philippines.
All right, so we are talking about the future of basketball here on Play It Right. And of course, we have with us, so happy, a man who has been playing in professional basketball in Japan for the San-en Neophoenix team, Thirdy Ravena. Hi, Thirdy. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for inviting me.
So congratulations. Of course, we all know the news that you re-signed with your team. So ibig sabihin, you're gonna be there for a while.
It's gonna be my home for the next couple of years.
Well, I guess that means masaya ka dyan, diba, sa team mo. Can you give us like ano yung mga naging factors that made you decide to renew, not just for one season, but actually for a couple of years of your life?
The fact that they've shown love. They've shown so much love and support ever since they got me. Even before I got to Japan, I already felt like I was part of the team. When I got to Japan, it was the president himself that picked me up. Even with the fact that I got injured, I got COVID, they were still there, and they showed unwavering love and support, just like what I mentioned. And it just made the decision so much easier.
What have you learned there? I mean, with the Japanese B-League basketball, let's say, compared to it's your first year as a pro, compared to, of course, let's say if you were playing professional here. I mean, how would you describe the Japanese B-League?
Well, I wouldn't be able to compare because I wasn't able to play in the PBA. But I think compared to Philippine basketball, it's really, it has such a toll on your body just because of the fact that the eliminations have like 60 games.
Nice. So would you say that you're physically stronger? I mean, minus the injuries that you have.
Right now, no. I'm still in the process of rehabbing my knees and making sure that I'm 100% by the time I leave Japan.
Yeah. Speaking of timetable off season, you're coming back to the Philippines. Babalik ka muna dito. Ano yung schedule mo between now and October?
I think I'm gonna leave around the end of May. Go back, quarantine for 10 days at the hotel, tapos see my family. There's a national team window in June, and there's another window in August. So I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna join the June window, but I'm not so sure if they would invite me to the August window. But right now, all I'm worried about, all that matters to me is being in the company of my loved ones and seeing my family, my friends.
Well, that's also good to hear that you're open to playing for the Gilas team, no?
If they call me, and I'll be happy, of course.
Did you ever have a issue with your mental well-being? Did you ever feel down? And what did you do to be able to help you mentally, especially with all the things that you went through?
That's a really, really good question that you brought it up, Miss Dyan, because I wasn't as big about mental health. I see it everywhere, but I always thought that I was a strong,
exempted.
I would be able to handle all of the pressure because I figured that I grew up under pressure, basically with the pressure of my dad being a pro player and my brother being a phenom ever since he was young. So I was kind of introduced to that kind of pressure. But when I, experienced all of those things, being injured, having COVID, and and experiencing all of those things alone in a place where you don't know anyone outside of your team. It's really hard. I really felt the value of mental health when I got to Japan and experienced all of those things. I always thought nako kayang-kaya ko to. I don't need no one needs to know what I'm going through. I almost break down and I just call my friends. I'm like, oh, sobrang hirap na.
Well, that's good that hindi ka, nahiya.
Yeah, and it actually also my teammates had the same sentiment about it. Especially going through a season, we would play 7-8 guys sometimes. We would lose like 7 or 8 times straight.
Yeah.
And then it would just be, crazy, especially for someone like me who hasn't lost.
Used to winning.
I haven't lost in 2 years before I went to Japan. And then we lost 47 times. Being able to have a group of people who you could feel, who you have, the same experiences with, the same struggles with, really helps, especially if you get to talk to each other about it and be very open about it. We kind of named our group Mental Health Matters, which is crazy because we're like 4 players.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Mental health matters?
Yeah, that's what we call our group, and we would just talk, laugh it off with each other, and it's like, yo, this is so hard, but let's just go through it.
Thirdy, you tell us about you wrote a letter to the PBA about the Dodger rule. Can you tell us about it? And did you get any response?
Kumbaga, nagpasintabi lang rin ako na I'm gonna go to Japan, na I'm gonna play here for the next couple of years, and I just hope that they're there to continue their support. I'm just doing this to represent the country. My brother's there, my dad's there, and I also, I grew up watching the PBA as well, so just needed to pay my respects.
Hey, Thirdy, you reached out to our Olympic-bound boxer Willie Marcial to help him with his preparation. Ano yung in-offer mong suporta para sa kanya?
Nagulat nga ako na he posted because I just reached out to him to be able to, find a way to support as a fellow athlete, kahit maliit lang. And he said like he doesn't really need monetary stuff, but just the supplements, all of those things. As a fellow athlete, you just want to make sure na makatulong ka, even though I've been going through a lot of things, and I feel like kailangan mapasa mo yung blessings mo sa iba, because those are the most important things. It's a great feeling.
Thank you, Thirdy. Thank you. Domo arigato gozaimashita. Super thank you. And we're so proud of your fight. We love your determination, and we believe that whatever you do, you're always going to play it right. So thanks for being here. See you again next time. Always love talking to you.
See you, Mr. Ingat.
Dyan, Thirdy has a really exciting future with the Bay League, especially after signing for multiple years. And it's so heartwarming to hear that no matter what, he's still open to represent Gilas.
True. I am such a big fan of Thirdy. I admire his dedication, his determination, his newfound strength after all the challenges, because he wants to be a better player, even if he's far from home. He is truly an inspiration for other athletes who want to follow in his footsteps.
Sports fans, for our next guest, we've got the country's latest heartthrob, who's been playing it right with the Gilas national basketball team. Welcome, Dwight Ramos. And Dwight, how did it feel traveling in this pandemic? We know you arrived May 4th. You did your quarantine. Now you're back in the Calumbubble. How did it feel?
Yes, Sir Quinito. I mean, it feels good. The last bubble got kind of shut down a little early because of the rising COVID cases. So I went to the States so I could continue training there. And I got my vaccine there. So I'm just glad to be back. I'm ready to start getting to work.
In February last year, Philippines beat Indonesia by 30 points. You played in that team. You had 6 professional teammates. This time, no professional teammates. You're all young guns. You're playing against an Indonesian team that's souped up with a naturalized import in Lester Prosper. What are our chances?
I mean, I always like our chances. I'm confident in our team. We're young, but we're really working hard here. We've been practicing. I mean, it's going to be tough with Lester Prosper out there with Indonesia this time. I mean, I'm pretty confident with us, but it should be a good game.
Nice. Dwight, a lot of Filipinos, of course, are happy that you've decided to play in the Philippines. But what made you decide to do that? I mean, you're pretty much in California, playing there. And what made you decide to come here?
Yeah, I know it's hard to leave the good life in California, but I just felt like I had like a good opportunity here playing for Ateneo, getting coached by Coach Tab, really getting to learn. And I think that's the biggest thing. Opportunities came up and I got to play for the national team, and I'm happy. So I'm just happy with my decision.
Yeah, it turned out to be a good decision. Was Ateneo the first choice? Was that your first choice, you and your brothers?
Yeah, it was our first choice. We really didn't see too much of the other schools. We only knew Ateneo, so it's really Ateneo or nothing.
Can you tell us how does playing in the college level or playing in the Philippines compare to playing in California or in the United States? Did you have a hard time adjusting?
It was a little different with the physicality and stuff. Basketball, you get called for little fouls there in the States, so it kind of makes you play. It's more of an offensive game there. Here, I would say it's a little more physical, so you just got to be tougher, and that's kind of just the only adjustment I had here. Other than that, it was a pretty smooth transition.
Dwight, let's sink our teeth into this Indonesia game some more. You mentioned Lester Prosper. Now we're going to have Angie Kwame in our lineup. What do you see that he brings to the game in terms of impact? And do you see him to be the versatile kind of center who can play inside and outside and can complement your game as well as your teammates' game?
Yeah, definitely. I think Ange can complement anybody on the team. He's such a force inside defensively. Like anybody that drives in there kind of thinks twice about how they want to try and finish around him. He should be a good matchup against Leicester. That'll be fun watching them too. But I really think he really complements everybody well. Rebounds, he can shoot. He's just out there trying to make our lives easier, and that's just kind of.
Can you tell us a little bit about the training bubble? How is it in there? Is it tough mentally, or you're okay with it? How is it sitting with you?
It's kind of hard as the time goes by, just staying in here, but it's fun being around all the young guys. We're all young, we're just having fun together, and a lot of places here in the Philippines can't practice, they can't train, so we're just happy to be here and kind of blessed just to have the opportunity to practice and train here.
So anyway, Dwight, I have my last two questions here.
All right.
If you were to choose 4 guys to go to war with in any competition, whether it's basketball or any other kind of team sport, who would those 4 guys be?
I'll pick both the Nieto brothers.
Okay.
I feel like we really got each other's back, so if I really had to go into war, I would love to have them too with me. Isaac Go, because he got that brain. He could help us out if we were going to war. Maybe I'd pick Carl. Carl's just a fighter. His personality is he's always trying to fight. Got that fighting spirit, and I really like that about
Carl Tamayo? Okay.
I really like his spirit.
Well, my last question will be about the UAP. When the UAP returns, you'll be playing for Ateneo. You're going to go up against one of your Gilas teammates, Balti Baltasar, in that fabled LaSalle Ateneo rivalry. How do you think you can use the collegiate platform to get the fans more engaged into sports, get the youth more active into playing?
Well, I think that after this pandemic, there will be a lot of eyes on the UAP coming back. If we can show how we made it through this situation and turn this pandemic into something like the UAP and have a big showing there, I feel like that can be pretty inspiring to the youth and them wanting to aspire to play in the UAP as well.
Well, before we let you go, Dwight, I just wanted to ask, how do you like the popularity that you're enjoying here? And of course, we can't leave without you telling us about your girlfriend, of course, great volleyball player. How is it dating another athlete?
Yeah, the popularity is kind of new to me. It's really not something I'm used to. Just like from being from California and just dating another athlete, it's really like it makes it so much easier for me to kind of understand each other's lifestyles and having to train. So it really goes well together, and it's making my life a lot better.
It's great. Well, Quinito and I have really enjoyed having you on our show. Thank you so much for making the time. We're going to be following you, of course, in your journey there with the Gilas team. God bless, and thanks for playing it right with us, Dwight Ramos.
Thank you.
So I'm really excited to see Dwight perform with the national team again. He looks like a really, really fine guy, and also really curious to see how it's going to play out with the other young members of the Gilas team performing in the international stage. For sure, they have that young kind of energy, diba?
A lot of pressure on the shoulders of the young guns. But, seeing and feeling Dwight Ramos's vibe with that interview that we had, Dyan, I'm just so excited, and I'm very optimistic that no matter what, win or lose, I think those young guns, the young Gilas team, our new generation of players, will make the country proud. Well, you know, Dyan, it's great to see that no matter what, sports is still persevering and going strong.
I agree, Quinito. It isn't easy, but our athletes, coaches, and sports leaders are doing their best to inspire, especially now.
Dyan, we interviewed so many outstanding personalities in this episode. I particularly like the sincerity and the genuine compassion shown by Commissioner Willie Marcial.
Yeah, well, you know, we love talking basketball, of course, and it's really great to see that everybody is working together, the leaders, the players, everybody giving their 100% para hindi tayo maiwanan ng sport and to show the world that the Filipino basketball players are number one. Well, thank you so much, sports fans, for joining us in our very first episode.
Because we want you to be part of the game. Stay in touch through following us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Play It Right TV. And thanks so much for being with us to Play It Right.
And subscribe to our YouTube page, Play It Right TV, to stay updated on our next episode. I am Dyan.
I am Quinito, and we are here to
Play It Right.